Today's grim case takes us to a small rural village planted in the Belgian province of Vlaams-Brabant. The date is the 26th of February of 1991, almost exactly 30 years ago as of recording this video. On that day, the lives of one local family would be irreversibly changed, and with that, the sleepy village of Leefdaal would face a rude awakening. Nathalie Geijsbregts was a seemingly happy child aged 10 in 1991. She lived with her two parents and one younger brother in a lower middle-class neighborhood. On the 26th of February, the family got up early, around 6 a.m. to start their normal morning routine. On their way to work, the parents drop off their youngest, Nathalie's brother Bjorn, at a local school. Nathalie was subsequently brought to a nearby bus stop, where a school bus was scheduled to pick her up. Her parents, Anita and Eric, wave goodbye as they drive on to their jobs, not knowing that this would be the last time they see Nathalie. A short while later, a witness spotted Nathalie walking towards the Bosque, an area on the edge of a close-by forest, accompanied by an unknown man. Minutes later, a family friend drives past a vehicle parked at the Bosque. It was a grey Toyota with the hood open, seemingly having car trouble. While passing by the vehicle, she sees Nathalie sitting cheerfully on the back seat, waving at them in a friendly manner. At 10 a.m., an hour and a half after school started, Nathalie's parents were notified that she never showed up to class that morning. Over the next week, several search and rescue operations are initiated, mainly in and around the nearby forested areas. Several news interviews with Nathalie's parents were subsequently televised, as well as missing person posters put up all around Belgium. A large number of leads were investigated and followed up on by local law enforcement, but no trace of Nathalie was ever found. After a year of on and off looking, Nathalie's parents had come to accept the likely and tragic fate of their young daughter. A humanitarian organization called Child Focus took over the mission of keeping Nathalie's story in the public eye and to investigate possible new leads. The first credible lead to a possible suspect came from French police, who had apprehended kidnapper and child predator Christian van Geloven. This Dutch-born murderer was known to have kidnapped several children in the region of the Netherlands, Belgium, and France. The French gendarmerie was so convinced of the guilt of their suspect that they contacted Nathalie's mother, telling her they were 99% sure they caught their daughter's kidnapper. After some time, it became clear that the French had no direct proof linking Van Geloven to Nathalie. Another possible suspect is one of the most infamous child predators of that time and region, perhaps ever. Marc Dutroux was responsible for the kidnapping, exploitation, and eventual murder of several young girls in Belgium. The earliest known cases concerning him date from 1995, which would make it hard to connect Dutroux to the disappearance of Nathalie Geijsbregts. This doesn't stop a lot of people, including some detectives, to posit Dutroux was active long before 1995, thus making him a suitable candidate for the kidnapping of Nathalie. Perhaps the most promising lead arrived nearly 8 years after Nathalie's disappearance. Michel Stocks was a Belgian truck driver who was incarcerated in a Dutch prison for the murder of a young girl and 2 young German boys in 1991. 8 years later, a former cellmate of Stocks relayed to the police that Stocks admitted to kidnapping and killing Nathalie. Stocks denied ever having anything to do with this case and presented investigators with a plausible alibi. Every truck driver is outfitted with something called a tachograph, an instrument that records the whereabouts and routes taken by the truck driver. At the morning of the kidnapping, it placed Stocks in the city of Metz in France, not exactly near to Nathalie's disappearance. During the next year, however, investigators found evidence of tampering with the tachograph. It also came to light that Stocks had forged some paperwork regarding his trucking job around that time. Following this new evidence, Michel Stocks is officially charged with the murder of Nathalie Geijsbregts. Investigators turned their search towards the area around some suspicious unexplained stops during Stocks' drive the day of Nathalie's disappearance, but have no luck in finding any trace of her. Stocks is questioned by Belgian police for a whopping unprecedented 103 times. A confession was never extracted. In 2001, the now 50-year-old Stocks dies in prison because of an accident that set a man on fire, and with him, all chances of linking him to Nathalie's kidnapping. In a 2011 interview with Nathalie's brother, it becomes clear that the once tight-knit family was forever changed by the events 20 years prior. The sadness and lack of closure are still very much palpable, as Nathalie's father still shows up every year at the fateful bus stop he last saw his daughter, hoping perhaps Nathalie or anyone with more information might show up. Until that happens, the tragic disappearance of Nathalie Geijsbregts might remain simply a mystery.